Joe Christovec for HorsePlayerNow.com, joining you for another edition of Night School. And today we're going to talk all about the role of the racing office. It is multifaceted, to say the least. And to help us out, we have employed George Berry, the stakes coordinator at Arlington Park. And George, let's start with, before the meet even starts, there is quite a bit of work that needs to be done to get the season set up, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the couple of most important things before the meet really starts is to write a condition book so that horsemen who are considering looking at running at your meet know what the purses are, know what the type of races that you're going to have available to them. And second, to recruit horsemen, to go out and actively pursue people to try to convince them that running at your meet would be a good thing for their operation, for them and their owners.
The goal is to fill the barn area, and once you've done that and you know what kinds of horses you have on the grounds, the next thing is to go through the day-to-day operations, try to get as big a field as possible, try to get the most competitive racing possible for the racing fan themselves. Let's talk about that process from the time you park your car till the time the races are drawn.
Yeah, it's probably the most visible and critical role the racing office performs, and that is to, on a daily basis, and we're taking entries typically 4 or 5 days out ahead of race day, to try to determine the best races that we're going to be able to put on that afternoon. Best races in terms of, for the horsemen, the right mix of quantity and quality so that the most possible horses can run, and that we're also offering a quality product that's attractive to bettors, and to try to use as many races as possible with the largest fields possible, on a daily basis. That's probably the single most critical overarching criteria that we use. To accomplish that is not always as easy as it might sound. Book races sometimes don't go. Sometimes we'll have to kind of look at the trend and what types of horses that we have here, what types of races that we're offering are getting the most interest, and leverage those as much as possible. For example, turf races are not as hard to fill as main track races, whether that's poly track or like here at Arlington or dirt races. So we have to really find the right mix on a daily basis that maximizes the use of the surfaces that we have available, maximizes the quality of racing that we can put out, which we know is more attractive to bettors, and find the races that can have the most entrance, and again, make that more of a bettable product for handicappers out there.
And of course, stay within the purse criteria as well. Now you get to the point where maybe you're using 10 races for a given day, you decide which 10 races you're going to use, maybe you're still a couple horses short, and that's when the hustling process begins.
Yeah, I mean, on a daily basis, there's probably 1 or 2 races that we really want to go for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's a condition that doesn't come up very often, and if we get to 5 or 6 horses, we know that there aren't many good alternatives for those horses to run at later in the book. So we really want to work those races and make those races go in those kinds of situations.
Now, once we get to the point where we're set, we've got all the races, we've got all the horses, a random draw occurs.
Yeah, and the purpose of the draw and racing officials' participation in that is really to make it as transparent and fair as possible. There are 3 racing officials involved with pulling pills, pulling the entry slip out there, assigning the post position. We also name jockeys at that point in time. Most tracks in North America now, you have to name a jockey at the draw so that there's really as few games, if you will, played as possible, and that it is, like I say, as transparent and fair to all the participants as possible at the draw.
Now the draw is done, then the program is put together, an overnight comes out, the odds are done, the races are set and printed in the program along with all the ads and so on and so forth, which is usually printed a day before the actual racing day. But that's not the only thing that the racing officials have to worry about during the course of a racing morning and afternoon. There are other jobs that they perform.
Yeah, in the afternoon, racing officials are assigned various responsibilities around the track. Those could range from a role as paddock judge, where the paddock judge, down in the paddock where the horses are saddled, several responsibilities, but probably one of the most important is to make sure that the equipment that a horse is going to run in the afternoon is what matches the programs and what bettors expect. That's paddock rules judge. Placing judges, racing officials act to actually determine the placing order during a race of the horses. That's human backup, if you will, to the technology that's available from teletimer and photo finish equipment. And plenty of examples where that equipment fails, need somebody as a backup there. And 3 placing judges, the racing officials act as placing judges in the afternoon. There's role of a stakes coordinator where we try to recruit horsemen to come participate in our biggest races that we offer in biggest purses. Those are typically largest betting days for a track and races that attract the most betting interest. So we want to have as full and as competitive as fields as possible in those instances. And In fact, the racing official responsibility goes all the way down to racing secretaries, management of the on-track personnel, starting crew, starting gate personnel, outriders on the track, all report to the racing secretary.
That's a lot to digest. It all begins right here in the racing office. Their job is to make the racing competitive and bettable, and we're going to learn a lot more about that in the course of the next hour. Thank you, George.
Hi, I'm Doug Brader, agent for Jockey Florent Giroux. Welcome to Night School.